Hello, I'm Jaroco, and welcome to my D&D character journal tour. This is my D&D journal for my character Orion, and he is a level 4 Nature Cleric of Balinor. He's a Firbolg, so he's a very woodlandsy creature. Just thought I would show you the binder itself, which I bought on Amazon. I'll show how much it costs and all the different ones you can get. But I really like this binder. It comes with quite a lot of stuff, including the pages and a few pockets and dividers, which is really nice. Obviously, I've added a modification myself. For one, this is my dice bag that just straps inside. I made this myself, hand stitched from leather. I'm very happy with it. This can hold up to 2 sets of dice and 10 small D6s, my sharpener and my eraser. I'll get those out now. So it's just a toggle button, and then it's a case of just almost massaging the dice out. There we go. Put that off to the side. The dice that I use for my character are my lovely walnut dice with gold numbering, and my sharp edge resin dice in green. I think this fits well for the character. And these are my 10 D6s, which I'll show you what those are for in a minute, other than just spells. And then finally, an eraser and a sharpener, because it's always handy to have those. So back to the binder. If we unclip it, see at the side we have a pen and a pencil as well. Now, before I go on about what's in here, I just want to quickly show you 2 of the other things that I've made for this binder, or 3 things even. This is my budget-friendly dice tray. Got some adhesive Velcro that I bought for this, but blue tack would also work just fine. I just wanted some Velcro because it will last long in the long run. And this is my dice tower, which is very simple to set up. And finally, this is my spell tracker, and this is what the D6 is for. You put a dice on the spell number, and this will be my 1st, 2nd, 3rd, all the way up to 9th level spell slots. I've only up to 2nd level at the moment until I level up to level 5. But you put a D6 on to track how many spell slots you have of each level spell. It's very handy to have. And at the bottom, there's also my concentration tracker for spells that require concentration. Just bind that up. Put that to the side. You'll notice that the emblem in the middle, same as the one on the front of the diary, is my emblem for Orion. And it's off center because I didn't plan it very well. But it's simple as dropping dice in, rolling. I got to 2. That's not very good. Put those to the side down here, out of the way. Oops. Right, so the diary itself, on the back and front there are pockets for various things. These here are my spell radiuses. I have 2 different sizes, all with inch squares, because me and my party use a square battle map. It's just easier. Yeah, so each square is in the game is a 5-foot square, so it's a 20-foot radius for this. But sometimes we use the same squares and say that they're 10-foot, just so that we can have more space and can do bigger maps on the same size dry erase map we use. So this is my smaller 20-foot radius. And these here are my standees. Real simple bits of cardboard. Got one for my character, Orion, and one for his spiritual weapon, which I'm able to move around across the map. And the way that these work is at the back, we have some bulldog clips. I have 3 just in case I ever need an extra one. So yeah, spiritual weapon on the back. That's just a case of putting them in, and those will just stand up. These are the perfect size to use on the Brits. It covers his face a bit, but you can remove the clips itself if I want to. But for the purpose of this video, you can see how they stand up. I'll move those off to the side. In the back, I've also got some spare bits of cardboard to make some quick standees if I ever need them. But yeah. Yes, at the start, let's go through all the stuff I have in the front pocket. This includes some hand-drawn pictures for lore. These are Orion's wife and daughter that he carries around with him. And these are various bits of lore and letters that our DM has given us. I keep them with me just so I always have them, and I can refer back to these if I need them to figure stuff out. It's got a bit of leather in between the metal of the binder clips and the leather on the outside, just to protect it a bit. Makes it last a bit longer over time. So I've got some various symbols and pictures here for my front page. The symbol of Balinor is the stag antlers. Got a picture of a pine tree, and because Orion and his people, his tribe, are inspired by the Celts and Vikings in a way. It's that sort of druid, pagan sort of religion they have. So I've got some pagan sort of symbols. We've got, this is the language that I use for Orion's people. It is a 1-to-1 alphabet. So every letter is a letter in the English alphabet, and I can translate them using a key that I usually carry around, which I haven't got at the moment. It's very simple. And these say, I believe, birth, life, and death. That's the 3 stages of life, I guess. Very spiritual and stuff. But we open up. Here is Orion's stats and basic information that's quick access to me. So you can see only +1 in initiative and +2 in proficiency. At level 4, he's doing pretty well with an armor class of 19, thanks to various bits and bobs. I do need to edit something. His age is actually 253, but he looks 53 years old. But as you can see, he's a cleric of nature for Valinor, and his background is an outlander. I've got a middle page here that just helps me with the spells, save DC, and my spell attack modifier. And then on the other side is all the languages that he knows. Being a Firbolg, they are meant to be sort of like the Fey relatives of giants. So obviously he knows Common, Giant, and Sylvan, which is the Fey language, and Elvish as well, because why not? I think that comes as standard with the first three comes as standard with Firbolgs in general. And as you can see, these are Orion stats. So I rolled for my stats doing the 4d6 method, where you roll 4d6s, remove the lowest number, and if you roll a 1, you can re-roll it unless you get another 1. But yeah, I rolled really well for Orion. Most of my party used this method, only one person chose standard array, but we all agreed that we were okay with each other's stats, and the DM was more than happy with our stats, so there was no issue. Some of you may say this is very powerful for a level 4 character. I agree. I just got very lucky. At level 4, we could increase stats. So I increased my 19 wisdom to a 20. So I've got a 20 stat very early on. I think I got a 17 when I rolled either a 16 or a 17. Yeah, so it would be a 17, and then with my race, I managed to get an extra 2 for the wisdom. So I brought it up to 19, and then leveled it up by 1 to 20. So that's how I've got a 20 already. Yeah, it's very helpful to look at this page when I need to see what I can do, what I have proficiency in. I'm quite happy with how this goes, but once I get to level 5, I'm going to redo this page, I think. And here he is. This is my boy Orion. I made him on Hero Forge first to help me be able to draw him a lot better. And I've used some gold acrylic pen for the eyes so that they shine a bit. And then next, I thought it would be handy for me to know roughly what level or what stats will refer to and what I'm capable of with each stat. It's very useful to have something like this. I found this one online and just copied it word for word. So technically with Orion, with a strength of 18, he can break objects like wood with his bare hands. Dexterity of 13 will allow him often able to hit large targets. Very useful. A constitution of, say, 16 easily shrugs off most illnesses. I imagine living out in the wild will definitely help with that sort of thing. It builds up your immune system. For intelligence, he has a 14, so he's able to do maths or solve logic puzzles mentally with reasonable accuracy. Fair enough. A wisdom of 20 will allow him to read people and situations very well, almost unconsciously. He is a very wise man. And as for lore reasons as well, technically, Orion here has died 3 times and was resurrected each time by his god Valinor to serve out his quest to defeat the undead. And with each time he died, the more wiser he got in knowing things. Finally, he's a charisma of 10, which means capable of polite conversation. He lost his charisma when he died. He became a lot more of a serious person, but he's a very strong and wise man, though. Finally, these are my, well, not finally, but these are my spell cards. They allow me to quickly look through what Orion can do. You're going to notice Orion can do a lot of things, and this is all perfectly legal to the game, and my DM allows all of this. And funnily enough, I'm not even the most powerful character in our party, but Orion has a lot of things. At 4th level, he got 4 cantrips, and I believe because of being in the nature domain, he got an extra cantrip for free. So the 4 cantrips he got were Toll the Dead, Guidance, Spare the Dying, and Light. And with being in the nature domain, he got 1 Druid cantrip, which I chose Magic Stone, which is his best spell because it uses his spellcasting ability modifier with 1d6, and that will that does a lot of damage usually. I've got my 2nd level spells in front of my 1st level spells, just because they're my most powerful spells now. We've got Prayer of Healing, Spiritual Weapon, and Whole Person. And then he got the Bark Skin and Spike Growth with his nature domain. Then we've got my 1st level spells. So we've got Healing Word, Inflict Wounds, Guiding Bolt, and Shield of Faith, Command, and Bane. And these are all the spells that I've picked for Orion. I think he gets 10 spells that he knows at once. And then these ones come with his race, and which is pretty cool. So Disguise Self and Detect Magic come with his race, and Speak with Animals and Animal Friendship comes with the nature domain. So yeah, here's the race features. So Firbolg Magic, Detect Magic, and Disguise Self. I can only use these once per, I think, long rest. Yep. And then I also get Hidden Step. As a bonus action, I can turn invisible, which is really cool. And what me and my DM have ruled is, because Orion wears heavy armor usually means you have disadvantage with your stealth checks, or passive stealth in general. But with him turning invisible, it cancels that out, so it's a normal. I can roll as normal for stealth if I'm invisible. I don't get advantage being invisible, I just get normal. And then obviously, speech or beast and leaf, I can communicate with plants and animals, and I would have to use speak with animals for them to speak back with me. So I can talk to things, but they can't talk to me unless I use the spell. And then last page of cards is my divinities, my channel divinity stuff. So I can turn undead, which is cleric, usual cleric thing. Charm animals and plants is part of the nature cleric domain. And then harness divine power. It's pretty cool. And this is a special thing my DM did for me, which is Valonor's Clarity, which once per long rest, I gain advantage on insight checks, which is quite useful when I have to do them. And on the back, I have Blessed at the moment, so I've got the card just so I know that my character is currently blessed, which is very useful to have. And then I'll give this card back to my DM once I've used it. These are my magic weapons and items, and I have quite a few. The DM's been very generous with the magic items at the moment, and she usually tries to make sure that they're in line with the characters as well. And we haven't just been given these freely. We've earned everything we've gotten through fighting and various quests and rewards. So I've got some images of the main items that I have drawn myself. I've got my bearded axe of bludgeoning, which is technically it's a warhammer, It acts as a warhammer, but it's been reskinned as a very blunt axe, and that is Orion's starting weapon. Then we've got my Drake Hide Shield, which grants me a bit of fire resistance and increases my AC by 3. That's how Orion's AC is so high, with heavy armor, a Drake Hide Shield, as well as he has a regular shield, which I've melded them together, so he's very beefy. And then a boss weapon that I managed to get, which is Glass Staff. Was he named after the Glass Staff, or was the Glass Staff named after him? We don't know. And with the Glass Staff, I get a +1 to attack and damage rolls, and I can use it as a normal staff weapon, which is 1d6 bludgeoning damage. This is very cool for Orion because it basically makes my spell attack rolls even higher. So I get a +10. I think it's +10 at this point. Let's have a look. No. So I get to add +7 to my rolls with spells, and with the Glass Staff it becomes a +8. That's how that works. Very cool. And then with Magic Stone, which uses the spell attack in its damage, is a +8 to damage, so 1d6 +8, and then I also get to roll, add +8 to the roll to attack. So that's why Magic Stone is very powerful for Orion, and that is perfectly legal. You can search that up. On the other side is my Warden's Gauntlets, which allows me to use the shield spell, which is very useful because it gives me even more AC temporarily, +5 AC, and it also completely deflects the one spell that has killed Orion so far, which was Magic Missile. Because Magic Missile, famously, you can't block it unless you have the shield spell. So that's very useful. And then finally, the Amulet of the Stag, which is a homebrew item, I believe, that my DM created, that gives me Hunter's Mark, which is usually a ranger's trait or feature, and allows me to mark a creature. And I think, what's it say? For 1 hour, I choose a creature within range, mark them. Until the spell ends, I deal an extra 1d6 with weapon attacks. Not spell attacks, but weapon attacks. So that will work better if I'm using either the staff or my other weapon to attack with instead of using magic. So if I'm in a close quarters situation where I can't realistically use my spells, which are long range, I will whip out my axe and get to do some extra damage with it, which is very cool. And finally, I have a few scrolls. My DM doesn't agree with the ruling where you can only use spells that your character is able to learn, as it makes most spell scrolls pretty much useless to most of the party if they can't use these spells. So we've got it as our own rule that you can use any spell on a spell scroll. So yeah, I've got Fireball, Hold Person, and Lightning Bolt. I can already use Hold Person with a spell slot, but it's nice to have a freebie. Now we're on to character lore. I will quickly go over character lore because there is a lot. Page is about my appearance. Orion is very tall in general. He's about 7'3", I think. As a Firbolg, they are related to giants, of course, so they are very big people. And he wears a lot of hides and various animal pelts and stuff. And it also goes over his ideals, bonds, and flaws, which you can read here. I usually write everything in full caps because it makes it more legible to myself. Because if I try writing normally, it's usually chicken scratch. It's very, very messy. Backstory, for me to simplify it, would be Orion's tribe that live in a very remote forest. It's like a Feywild forest with druidic creatures like the Spriggans, the Treants, dryads and stuff like that. And essentially, Orion's home was found by Feywild poachers, and they burned down the forest. They had technically killed Orion and left him for dead in the fire, while the rest of his tribe, including his wife, was taken by these poachers. Orion was revived by Balinor, the god of the hunt, because his people worship those sorts of deities, I guess. His people are more druids and rangers, pretty much. And essentially he was revived by his god and tasked with finding these poachers, finding terrible people that violate Balinor's sanctity domain of the wilds. A hunt should be honourable, and he does not like poachers. He also does not like the undead and unnatural things like that, as they go against the laws of nature. So Orion has been tasked with dealing with those things. And in return, he has been granted a second life and all these powers so that he can do those things and also find his tribe. Yeah. And then I've got a page on memories that I can bring up to my party at some point, but some of these might be spoilers. This isn't a spoiler though. Don't read this if you're watching this the rest of my party. I haven't told you this yet. This is about Orion's daughter, and she was killed many years ago. And that was a big reveal recently, because Orion, being like the dad of the group, kind of sees the rest of the party as his adopted children in a way, and the rest of the party is okay with that. We've all had a talk about it. Helps with all the bonds and stuff. Good RP. This is some pages about the tribe and how the tribe works. I've said before that the tribe is mainly druids and rangers. And before Orion became a cleric, through Balinor's blessing him a second life, he was part of the rangers. And he would often do a lot of hunting and stuff. The very cape sort of cloak he wears on his back is the hide of a giant bison that he hunted alone as part of his initiation, in a way. Also, the Firbolgs do have, or did have, some blink dogs as helpers with their hunts and stuff. I added that in just in case my DM wants to help give Orion a blink dog companion, maybe. Please. I'll do anything. Please. I want a blink dog. And yeah, I've invented a thing where blink dogs, like normal dogs, will have zoomies, but because blink dogs teleport, I've called it bloopies, where they just bloop in and out of existence when they're really hyper. I think that's a funny little detail. But yeah. These are the runes of the tribe. The tribe doesn't really have like written, well, they do have written names, but these are their runes to help identify each other. And Orion has this one. These are based off of the Celtic triskel or triskelion. It is a very ancient symbol. So yeah, Orion's is more a combination of triskel and as a Norse symbol of three triangles together. I forgot what it's called at the moment. I'll caption up and a picture. But yeah, I wanted this his culture to be almost a mix of those ancient tribal cultures in a way. Oh, and on the back here is all the things that Orion got the kill shots to. The killing blows. Orion has had a fair few in our campaign. The campaign has been going on since, I want to say, September or October of 2024. And it's been a lot of fun so far. We're doing a Lost Mines of Phandelver. That is the campaign we're doing at the moment. And I'm loving every moment of it. I think Goblins seems to be the common thing that Orion has killed. But yeah, and a few undead. Here are some spare sleeves for cards in case one of my other players need it. I've handed out these blank playing cards as well to everyone, and I've got a few more just in case. And these are very handy. I'll put links in the description below of where I bought these, as well as some short screen recordings of them on Amazon. Bought both of these on Amazon. These are just a list of items. It helps just to write them down quickly of the things that Orion has. We've got magic beans, which are really fun. A statue, some silver goblets that I can sell later. I've got my healing potion written down here. A chef hat and an apron I think I stole. A chalice I found. Salted meat I found. And recently we found a wooden pipe with a platinum engraving. As in like a pipe, pan pipe. And Orion can play a pan pipe, as that comes with his background. But yeah, no, he's got a fancier pan pipe. And then I've got quite a few spare pages. And at the back, I've got my quest log of all the quests that we've done so far. So if you haven't played the Phandelver Below, Lost Mines of Phandelver, some of these might be a bit spoilery, so be warned. We've escorted a wagon to Phandalin, we've defeated the Red Brands, we found their hideout, we got a spell book to a lady called Agatha, we've defeated the orcs at Withen Tor, found the ruins of Old Owl Well, find Glass Dust Secret Letters, find the Lightbringer, we did that in our last session. Myrna's heirloom. We've found Gundren, the guy who gave us our first quest to start with, but he disappeared, and we found him at the Quagmire Castle. And then last of all, we have to rescue our adopted goblin child who's wandered off, and tell him off for wandering off. Got more spare pages to write stuff in, and then at the back is some bits and bobs, not lore, but just fun things that I've collected over the time. I'll just move this board up clip to make it easy to get them out. In one of our fights, there was this big runes on spell runes on the floor that we had to destroy, and this is what was underneath the miniature we were fighting, so I kept that. Got one of our beach episodes to say where it was more of a chill task session where we just did a bunch of tasks and stuff, and it was quite fun. So we did like decorations and for a festival after we defeated the Red Brands, which like these caped gangsters in a way, not gangsters but ruffians. This was the what we were given just before our the quest to find and defeat the orcs at Withen Tor. And one of our tasks was to do flower arranging, and the DM gave us these printouts to colour in. It was just a little chill thing to do while we did some RP, and this is what I've done for my one. Some of the blue and purple flowers signed by Orion himself. But yeah, I believe that is everything. I'm quite happy with the amount of stuff I've managed to get in here. Make sure those are properly. Move that along. Yeah, it's amazing how many things you can get inside a binder if you plan it properly. Show how everything goes back in. See, we fold up. These are made of baking paper, so they're still a bit translucent, as you can see, to make it easier to line them up on grids. And those slot in these pockets here. ease of access. The standees, just pull them out, go in this top one. I do have an actual miniature for Orion that I painted, and at level 5 we'll be getting new updated versions with our new tools. I make the miniatures on Hero Forge. These will go back on here. Might be a little bit out of focus, but it's okay. There we go. Let's put pictures back in the front, and then I'm gonna clip that in and clip these back in, so helps to line them up. I will make a video on how I made these at some point. Oh yeah, they're very cost effective. I made this completely for free, other than the Velcro. I'm gonna have to tape that though. It is cardboard after all, but I'm not paying like 40 to 50 quid for one of those leather ones when I can make one for free, and it does exactly the same thing. And it clips into my binder, which is even better. So yeah, I think the easiest way to do this is to clip it through the front first, like that, for both of them. Then this one just goes there. Close the binder. Then we slot pen and pencil back into the loop. Flip. And then it's a case of putting all the dice back in here. And not drop the dice on the forest floor. Try and be a bit quicker. Make sure they're all nice and at the bottom. And you can fit all the D6s in without an issue. And then the eraser and the sharpener at the top for ease of access. Just kidding. No, don't get stuck now. We're almost finished. There we go. And then the button just goes through the button loop. And that's it. That is my full binder for Orion. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will be doing a video when I update him to level 5. But yeah, thank you for watching, and have a lovely day. Bye.